Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe if you're new to this channel. There will be a 9-0 Supreme Court ruling. Here's the Daily Beast on the matter. This is a publication that does not like Trump. Everyone is talking about this. A unanimous Supreme Court ruling overturning the Colorado ban. Hit subscribe to my super chat, Paul Bartlett in Australia. I cannot thank you enough to my viewers in Australia, the Philippines, New Zealand, Nepal, the UK, Canada, everywhere in the world. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Hit subscribe. You're going to hear Trump right now talk about the Supreme Court, and we're going to talk more about this case. To read my writing in The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Jerusalem Post, The Federalist, other publications, go to hagoodman.com. Paul, thank you again. A unanimous, complete, monumental rebuke of a very stupid decision to keep Trump off the ballot. This will ensure a landslide victory. I'll get to that a little later on. Hit subscribe. Let's get to Trump right now.
No, he's bad for democracy, and it would have given him new authority. The bill would have given him new authority to grant mass asylum, which, by the way, Bird Brain loves mass asylum. There's nothing nice about her. I will never run against President Trump. He is a great president, the greatest president in my lifetime, which is actually quite a bit now. The greatest president in my lifetime, she said. I will never run against him. Then she comes over to see me at Mar-a-Lago. Sir, I will never run against you. She brought her husband. Where's her husband? Oh, he's away. He's away. What happened to her husband? What happened to her husband? Where is he? He's gone. He knew. He knew. But no, think of this. Think of this. I will never run against you, sir, but it's all over tape. We've got like 19 versions. The great Dan Scavino, he made 19 versions of it. I will never run against him. Will you run against him? I will never. A little while later, I'd like to announce my candidacy. We don't need people like this. And I'll tell you what, she did a job. She was fine. She was okay. But I didn't put her there because I wanted her there at the United Nations. That was up to me. I wanted to take your lieutenant governor, who's right here, and make him governor. That's what I wanted. And I wanted you to have Peggy as a first lady. Get the best first lady. So that's a lot of truth to that, too. Because this man, when I was campaigning, for a long time I got along with her, made contributions to the governor. She'd always called contributions for years. And then I decided to run, and I said, one person I know I have is Nikki. I have Nikki Haley. Tricky Nikki. I have Haley.
For their critical IT.
And so now I announce, and I call various people for endorsements. I don't think they mean much unless it's my endorsement, right, Henry? It doesn't mean much. And she didn't return my call. This years ago. Then I called her again. Finally, she returns. No, I'm sorry. I'm with somebody else. I won't tell you who because it happens to be now a friend of mine. We've all unified and friends. But you know what? It's not China. No, it's not China. But I had a man who, at the time, I didn't know, the lieutenant governor believed in Donald Trump. He believed in me. And I had the lieutenant governor, and the governor had some other candidate. And Henry, we blew that field away like nothing, right? And he and Peggy, at 6 in the morning, I said, who the hell is the guy? I said, that guy is campaigning like hell, your lieutenant governor. And I wanted him because I felt he deserved it. We won. And I'll never forget my speech. I said, I would much rather have the lieutenant governor than the governor. This is after we won. And everyone understood exactly what I meant. But he became the governor, and you're one of the most popular governors and maybe the best governor in the whole country. Oh, he didn't expect to build up like that. He didn't think, he doesn't even care. He just wants to do his job. He's a great gentleman. That's a great couple. Thank you very much. And Peggy, thank you very much. Appreciate it. What Crooked Joe is doing to our border is a crime against this nation, but he will not get away with it. We're not going to allow these horrible offenses to take place. He'll be tried by the ballot box. You know that? He's going to be tried in, by, and for the ballot box in November. I have to say that, otherwise the fake news would say, oh, he was very threatening. Remember when Biden used to say, well, I'd like to take him behind the barn and punch him. If he ever punched me, it wouldn't last long. That's one wouldn't last. No, it's good. It wouldn't last long. 1, 2, 3 seconds. I'd go like this. That would be the end. That would be the end. I wouldn't have to be violent. No, but when he said it, the fake news said, oh, that's so cute, that's so nice. He said, he's threatening to hit the hell out of me. And they thought it was nice. Now, if I said I'd punch him in the face, he'd go down like a ton of lard. Remember that expression? Ton of lard. They'd say, he's a fascist. It's terrible what he said. You know, by the way, we have a group of a lot of women. You love
So that was a clip. I actually started the clip, the video earlier than when he talks about the Supreme Court case, but he goes into the double standard. You'll hear that in a second. He goes into the double standard between the different special counsels and how the rule of law is dependent upon whether or not you're a Democrat. So what took place is that he had a special counsel, Biden, and that special counsel stated that they wouldn't indict him because of an issue with memory. Okay. Here we have a special counsel in Trump that is going after him for a crime he didn't commit. So there's an immunity case, and then there's the Colorado's ballot ban. This Daily Beast article is preparing the wonderful, morally superior, really beautiful liberal Democrats among us for a 9-0 unanimous Supreme Court victory for Trump, which, by the way, will affect the immunity case. They might say that Trump is not immune from prosecution, but prosecution for what? Incitement is a very broad term. He didn't incite or compel anyone or influence anyone to commit any criminal act. There's no evidence he did that other than an apoplectic and borderline hysterical viewpoint that Trump's words caused people to commit crimes. So they're already talking about a unanimous Supreme Court decision. I have been saying this for weeks now. Ever since the initial, I was saying that it'll be overturned, and looking more into it, if you watch this channel, hit subscribe if you're new. I've been saying he will not spend even 1 second in prison or jail. He will not spend even 1 second in prison or jail. Pony Soldier, thank you. Thank you. Greatly appreciated. Paul, thank you. Pony Soldier, thank you so very, very much. So he will not spend even 1 second in prison or jail. All of these indictments will either be thrown out of court once he regains the Oval Office, and he will regain the Oval Office. And tomorrow we'll talk about, for example, one of the trials or one of the prosecutions is completely being dismantled before our very eyes because prosecutors had a romantic relationship. So you will get a unanimous Supreme Court ruling, and then if the Supreme Court says that he could be convicted or that he doesn't have immunity from prosecution, the question is prosecution from what? They failed to prove that Trump committed a rebellion, which is one of the reasons the Supreme Court didn't. Which is one of the reasons the Supreme Court is going to side with Trump unanimously. This is a matter of the rule of law, which Democrats claim to care about. When there's a unanimous Supreme Court decision, ladies and gentlemen, or any Trump will win. But I want a unanimous Supreme Court decision. Be here on this channel. And hit subscribe if you're new. Trump does speak about this and other topics. This is South Carolina, which he'll win by 30 points easy. 25 to 35 points. Let's continue.
Love North Carolina, right? Okay. We have a lot of, they followed me now. This is the 129th rally that they've attended. Could I ask them, even though it's North Carolina, it's close enough, right? We love North Carolina. Would you stand up, please? Look at these people. Look at these people. Beautiful women. You're not allowed to say that anymore, but I'll say it. You are not allowed to say beautiful women. That usually is the end of a career, but I'll say it. They're beautiful women. They're incredible women. They're smart. The only thing I don't understand, I see one husband. They're good. Their husbands are home 129 times. What the hell are they doing? What did they say? No, they're great people. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. That's support. And we were treated very well, as you know. You know Laura, she lives in North Carolina, and she named the baby with Eric, named the baby Carolina. No discrimination. I said, is that north or the south? They said, it's both. It's both. So she's great. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. As you probably know, 2 days ago, the Biden Department of Injustice let Crooked Joe off the hook for some of his very egregious crimes, including his brazen theft of classified documents long before he was ever president. He's been doing this for 50 years. I couldn't believe it. I remember a certain senator got up and said, no way he did that, no way. But he did it. He took them when he was a senator. You can't do it. Now, in my case, I'm covered by the Presidential Records Act. I'm allowed to do what I do. But he wasn't covered. He was a vice president, not covered, and he was a senator. But this is yet more proof that we have a weaponized two-tier system of justice in this country. Crooked Joe got off scot-free. Now, I don't know if you call it scot-free. They said he was a mental basket case. Okay, so I wouldn't say it's totally scot-free. In fact, I think maybe if I had my choice, I'd take the other. I'd go through a little process, but that's better than what happened. But they said he was a disaster mentally, and he willfully stole gigantic numbers of classified documents, willful. But because of his condition mentally, is this guy going to make it to the starting gate, seriously? Well, it shows you the power of incumbency, doesn't it? If that happens, it's sort of an incredible thing. But I've been saying no, but you never know. Be the first time I've been wrong in a long time, right? Trump was right about everything. We called every war. We called every single problem. And we would have never had any of those problems. We wouldn't have had Israel attack.
So when they fact check Trump, they will say he wasn't right about everything. They'll say he wasn't right about fact check. He's been wrong about this and that and this and that. And Nicholas, thank you again. And Paul Bartlett, thank you. To my super chat, thank you. He's been right about most things. James, I think so. I think Hillary Clinton will replace Biden. But Trump has been right about most things. He has been right about most things. He was right about foreign policy. There was an absolute catastrophe And there's been an absolute catastrophe in terms of foreign policy. He's been right about the economy. There's going to be a devastating stock market crash, but we have record highs in credit card debt. We had a record low in poverty. We had record highs in household median income under Trump. And we have record highs in credit card debt with Biden. And we have inflation through the roof. Or I should say, the only reason inflation subsided is because of interest rates. Interest rates are 7 to 8%. Okay? So, Mark, I'm going to try to do my best on that. I apologize. Mark, thank you. Mark Volker, thank you. So, you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where Trump was right about the economy. It's not a good economy. People have tremendous amount of debt. They're paying twice as much for mortgage payments. Trump's mortgage rates when Trump was in office were around 3%. They're now 7 to 8% with Biden. Then you have inflation in terms of food. Then you have credit card debt, and Biden flooded the country full of strategic petroleum reserves. So, okay, so he was right about that. All right, he's right about that. And you have a foreign policy that's an absolute unmitigated catastrophe. Now, I actually disagree with, I don't mind funding allies, but especially if it's a terrible, moment where they need to be funded, that's fine. Never-ending funding for a never-ending military conflict is a different story. Okay, so that's a different story. But you have numerous areas of the world that are going through absolute chaos now under Biden. We didn't have these problems with Trump. Okay, which gets us to all Democrats have is banning Trump. They know they're going to be defeated. That's why liberal publications like the Daily Beast are preparing readers for a unanimous Supreme Court decision, which is what I've been saying for a long time on this channel. I told you Clinton would lose to Trump in 2016. I'm telling you Trump's going to regain the Oval Office now. He's not going to spend even 1 second in jail or prison because he didn't commit a crime. So the Supreme Court is not going to allow Colorado to determine the presidential election. That's number one. And it'll be unanimous. If it's not unanimous, if it's 8-1, I'll be very surprised. Very surprised. But a unanimous ruling for Trump is going to be absolutely the greatest victory possible because they tried to convince the world that Trump committed a rebellion. That's not the case. He did not do so. You'd have to be stupid to believe that Trump tried to overthrow the country with people he never met. In addition to that, he told people to remain peaceful, to peacefully and patriotically demonstrate, and to respect law enforcement. He told people all these things. So we'll get to that within his speech in South Carolina. But, this is going to be, when it goes down, and it'll go down, the greatest political defeat for Democrats since 2016. Okay? This is absolutely huge, ladies and gentlemen. If you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe. Let's continue.
We wouldn't have had Ukraine and Russia fighting.
I'm right now.
case should be dropped immediately by deranged Jack. Did nothing wrong, nothing. Rates, horrible what they're teaching your children in school. A woke rates, horrible what they're teaching your children in school. A woke military, we have a great military, but it's headed by woke people at the top. They're trying to change. It's not going to happen. We defeated ISIS in 4 weeks. Everyone said it would take 4 years. We did it in 4 weeks. We have a great military. But the Biden DOJ, the entire phony box is hoax.
He talks, ladies and gentlemen, about the upcoming D.C. case or the Supreme Court case. He refers to it, and he talks about the double standard right here. So it took a little while, but we finally got to the point where he talks about exactly why he's going to get a unanimous decision in a roundabout way.
Against your favorite president and me would be immediately dropped. Everybody says it. We had 3 or 4 legal scholars today say, well, that's the end of that case against Trump, because you can't have one guy get out and then another guy who did nothing wrong. He did tremendous wrong, and I'm not even asking, because if you look back, all presidents have taken a lot of stuff. I mean, that would mean every president, including Obama, Clinton, Bush, every one of them would right now be in the who's gal. That wouldn't look too good in history, would it? But we did everything right. He did everything wrong. And what they should do is that case should be dropped immediately by deranged Jack Smith. Did you ever hear of deranged Jack Smith? He's a prosecutor. He's prosecuted a lot of people, and he loses in the end because he goes too far. He's one of those guys. He goes so crazy. That's why we call him deranged. When I return to the White House, I will have no higher priority than cleaning up this rot and this corruption and restoring fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law. The special counsel's report tries to let Biden off by claiming that he is too mentally incompetent to convict at a trial. But if Joe Biden is not fit to charge, they're not going to charge him with a crime, but it's okay for him to become commander-in-chief. Think of that one. Thank you, that one. We don't have that. Remember, we used to have it all the time. And I used to get angry with the cameras because they never show the crowd. They'll never show the crowd outside, which is many times the size of the crowd inside. They never do. But I used to get angry, and then I figured it must be the equipment. But I used to complain. They'd show me, my face, and a few of the people right back there, very attractive people. But they would never, it's true. But they would never show the crowd, and I'd complain, I'd call them up, I'd call Fox, would call everybody, would say, why aren't you showing the crowd? Because it's so impressive. And then I realized it's very expensive equipment, it's probably new, steel cable, steel bars, so you can't turn. And then we had a couple of incidents like that, and that equipment was able to turn like a pretzel. It was like over, around, down, under, they'd get chin shots, they got over the head shots. And then I realized it was just fake news. They don't like seeing crowds like this because it just happens. I mean, it's crazy. But this is far bigger than what we had. And this is 10 months out. I mean, this is far bigger than... Look, nobody had more spirit than we had in 2016 and 2020. Again, much more than 2016. Much out of business.
Big time.
Can't fire up the big factories, can't do it. And you have clean, beautiful natural gas. You have clean coal. You have great things. We have more, by the way, we have more liquid gold under our feet, right? Mr. Congressman, great job you did. Great speech. Great speech, Michael. But they put everyone first except us. He puts America last, and he puts our workers last. He puts our safety last. We don't know. You know, the people coming into our country, many, many terrorists coming in. You know that, right? Al-Baghdadi, you know, $100 billion to a few countries, $100 billion. If we don't pay and we're attacked by Russia, in the swamp, we started off, we fired Comey, that fraud. We got rid of that guy and got rid of a lot of others. And then we had COVID came in, and that we had the greatest economy in history, even for 4 years, the greatest economy. But just prior to COVID, we had to fix that. Nobody knew what it was. You know, I get great credit for economy. I get great credit for the military. I get great credit for foreign policy. Viktor Orban, did you ever hear of him? Prime Minister of Hungary. Great guy. He was interviewed recently, and he said, they said, what's going on? The whole world is blowing up. He said, I have a simple solution. Let the United States of America elect quickly Donald Trump. It will all end very fast. You're not going to have any more problems. He said, you're not going to have any problems. He's one of the toughest guys, a smart guy, great guy, loves his country. But he said, and I don't use this term, but he used this term, China was afraid. But they're great negotiators. I mean, they are great, much better than the people we have negotiating. We have these guys go over there begging. They're like beggars. But they knew that Crooked Joe and Nikki Haley are very good for China. They're China people.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we can go back to the Daily Beast article. Democrats waited for 3 years to indict Trump, so it coincided with November of 24. You'd have to be stupid not to realize the political element here. Of course, they went after their direct political rivals in a manner they feared Trump would do to them. So the way they work, ladies and gentlemen, is that they fear Trump will behave in the manner that they behave. That's their greatest fear of all. They wait again, Lord. All right, how is it now? How's the sound check now? Better? Better? How about right now? After the sound check, how about now? Okay, it's good. It's fixed. Thank God. Thank God. Okay. So I fixed the sound. Okay, awesome. Awesome. So you look, ladies and gentlemen, and they fear. Thank you so much. They fear. Excellent, excellent. I love it. I love to hear that the sound is working. Thank you. So they fear that Trump will act in a manner that they've been acting. Okay, that's their greatest fear. Their greatest fear is that Jimmy, thank you. Their greatest fear is that they will experience what they've done to Trump. The problem, however, is that Trump desperately wants to go after Biden. He wants to be opposite Biden November. There's not one supporter of Trump. There's not one voter of Trump like myself or anyone watching here that doesn't want to go up against Biden. Everyone wants to go up against Biden. Everyone wants to go up against Biden. Everyone. Trump does not want anyone else, but I mean, he'll defeat anyone else. I think that Hillary Clinton will actually. I think that Hillary Clinton will actually replace Biden. They're actively talking about replacing Biden now. But the difference between Trump and Democrats is that Democrats know they will lose against Trump, even with late night, with every major publication, even with every conceivable advantage. They know they're going to lose against Trump, even with every single conceivable advantage. And so Trump doesn't need to ask a state to ban Biden for, the classified data, a whole bunch of things. He did not engage Trump in a rebellion. The whole thing is so absurd, and this is a testament to how effective Democrats are in infusing their own sensibilities within a political reality. He did not commit a rebellion. They waited 3 years to indict him, and now things are falling apart. The Supreme Court is going to absolutely destroy their case, both cases. Not just, you're talking about the D.C. case. Yeah, the D.C. case will be absolutely dismantled once there's a 9-0 ruling. Okay? The whole point is that Colorado believed he committed a rebellion. It will be a 9-0 unanimous ruling that he did not commit a rebellion. Okay? Because you know what could have taken place? The Colorado lawyers could have actually given the Supreme Court evidence that he committed a crime. He hasn't been convicted for a reason. So they didn't give any evidence of a crime. They didn't do that because he didn't commit a crime. They kept saying, well, he committed a rebellion. Why didn't they give any evidence? They didn't give any evidence because there is none. The Federal Bureau of Investigation found zero evidence. He didn't know anyone that committed a crime. There was no effort to overthrow the United States government. So, again, this is all complete and utter nonsense. But even liberal publications are preparing a unanimous Supreme Court ruling. A unanimous Supreme Court ruling will be the most amazing rebuke of complete and utter nonsense. So, morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrats who watched MSNBC and CNN nonstop will finally have their dreams and their fantasies shattered by a 9-0 Supreme Court ruling. They're the ones who say nobody's above the law, aside from Biden, who literally broke laws, as did Clinton, who I think will replace Biden. Somebody's going to, and I've been telling you, I said on this channel years back, right after 2020, the Democrats will eventually replace the quote-unquote most popular candidate of all time. I said that Trump will not spend even 1 second in prison or jail. I said that the Supreme Court will overturn the Colorado ruling. Okay? And I said that each of these indictments and criminal charges will completely be dismantled. And we're watching that right now. We're seeing that right now. They're being completely dismantled in Georgia. okay, because there was a relationship between prosecutors that was unethical. The D.C. case will completely unravel after the 9-0 Supreme Court ruling, okay, which will say that he didn't commit a rebellion, because they weren't given any evidence that he committed a rebellion. Okay, and the classified data case in Florida has already been completely leveled by the special counsel ruling that Biden didn't have the memory to commit a crime. Biden is so unfit, they couldn't be indicted. Okay? He's so unfit that he couldn't be indicted. And then the hush money, they might get hush money. Oh no, is the audio scratchy? Audio okay? Let's do a better now. Okay. Thank you, Wonderbar. Thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue with Trump.
Change for elections, a certain person was running and he was totally against a certain agricultural product. All of a sudden, just before the election, he came out and he said, I love it, I love it, I love it. But you know that they're going back to where they came from, right, Henry? They always come back where they came from. Her policies are horrible. Her policies on Social Security, she wants to raise the age by 10 years, okay? No, now she'll deny it, but if she ever got it, she'll never get it. She's got like zero chance. Zero chance. But you know what? If she ever did, she would go back, because they always go back to what they originally thought. But it's no wonder Joe Biden and his thugs are so desperate to stop us. They know that we are the only ones who can stop them. We're the only ones. That's why they are weaponizing law enforcement for the high-level purpose of election interference, which is illegal, what they're doing too, by the way. They love to talk about democracy, but they're the ones who are weaponizing the DOJ, the FBI, our election systems, local DAs. I got DAs. If I fly over a Democrat state, if I fly over what's called the blue state in my plane, I get a subpoena the next day. Please report to a grand jury. Right, Vernon? I get a subpoena. I had more subpoenas than anybody probably in history. I think I had, between Congress and every Democrat DA, I think I had more. I always say, I said, I got indicted more than Alphonse Capone. Do you ever hear of Alphonse? A very nice gentleman, Scarface. Al Capone, the greatest of them all, the greatest mobster of them all. Trump got indicted more. Can you imagine? And it all took place within a matter of minutes. It's election interference, election. I wonder what my great father and mother, they're up in heaven. Believe it or not, my father was a tough guy, but he would make heaven because he had a great heart. And my mother, there's no doubt about it. My father is questionable, but my mother, there's no doubt. But they're both up there, and they're looking up, and they're looking. She's going to say, Mary, our son is indicted more than Al Capone. How the hell did this ever happen? And it all took place within moments.
Stop making you.
But they're coming after you in many ways. They're coming after you. I'm just, I'm just stopping them. I'm stopping them. I always will. Somebody asked me the other day, a very important, a very, very successful guy asked me, they see what we have to go through with these maniacs. They're lunatics, and they see what I go through. And I say, it doesn't bother me because I have such support. It really doesn't bother me, which probably tells you there's a little bit of a screw loose there, because a lot of people would be not able to function. But it actually it inspires me. They said, if you had it to do again, you had a great life. I had the greatest life. I had the most beautiful places. I had a beautiful life. I did tremendous, had a book. It became the biggest book. Many books, but had a book, one of the biggest books ever, a thing called The Art of the Deal. Had a television show, became the top show, The Apprentice. I didn't know anything about television. I didn't know anything about books. One of the greatest real estate developers, what I do best is build. I'm a great developer. That's what I did. I made a lot of money with it. You see that when you look at my statements, which are now public for everybody to see. I did great. But they say to me, you had a great life, have great homes, Mar-a-Lago, and many others like it. Then they say, if you had it to do again, would you do it? I never hesitate. I said, absolutely, I'd do it. I would have none of this happening because what I'm doing is necessary. And if I didn't do it, our country is gone. I believe our country would be gone. I really do. I really do. So in a sense, I'm doing it for you, but in a sense, I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it for a lot of great people, but I don't even hesitate. They asked me two questions. First is that, would you do it again? And they're always surprised when I say absolutely. You know, you got to go to, on Monday I have a court case, or Tuesday. It's okay. It's all right. You just say, I wish whatever state I'm supposed to be in well, and they can all see and they understand. They get the game. Look, normally when this happens, you go like that. You announce, here's what happens. You get indicted, you go to the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to announce my retirement from politics. I will be going home to spend more time with my family and to fight for my name. That's what happens. 99.9%, right? Henry wouldn't know because he's not even close. Okay, Henry would not know that. But that's what happens. You see, we've seen it many times, Henry, right? Politicians, they always announce they're going to fight for their name and they're going to go back home to their family, which they should have been home there a long time ago, right? That's what they do with me. They indict me. I explain what it's about. Total bullshit, all cases, right? And my poll numbers go up. My poll numbers go up. How do you figure that? But Joe Biden and the fascists that control him are a true threat to democracy. You know, he's controlled by fascists and bad people. All of this persecution is only happening because we're leading so big in the polls. If I wasn't running right now, or if I was in fifth place, or if I was like Haley, like 70 points down, I wouldn't be under indictment. I wouldn't have any problems right now. In the latest morning Counsel poll, highly respected, we're at 80% in the Republican primary, and we're dominating Crooked Joe in the general election by numbers that nobody's ever seen before. In fact, our lead against Biden is the largest it has ever been. 6, 7, 8, 9. We have one at 11 points, which is hard. I have a friend that called me. He's not into politics. He said, could I ask you a question? How come you're only leading Biden by 8 points? I said, because if I ran this speech that I'm supposed to be using, but I decided not to. You know why? Because I feel at home with South Carolina. I'm at home. I'm at home. No, if I ran this book, if I ran that book, you start off with 39 points if you're a Democrat. I actually told my children, they're great. I have great children, smart children. They worked hard, very hard. I said, I don't want to get in your way, but it's a lot easier and a lot safer to be a Democrat. It's true. If I ran that book, nothing else, just the book, has no life, no nothing, you get 39 points. That's why it amazes me. In other words, a Democrat, between the unions, the civil service, and a few other groups, I won't mention them, but you get 39 points, right? So no matter who you are, this microphone would get 39 points. We start off with nothing. We don't have that. We have to run the whole East Coast like I did twice. I did better the second time. But we have to run the East Coast. Then we have to take the Midwest. Then we have to do all sorts of things. I'll never forget that incredible 2016, though, when everyone said, well, he has no chance. Remember, they gave me a 2% chance, right? Remember the poll, the number? Some genius sold his whole company to the New York Times. They paid him millions of dollars because he gave me a 2% chance. And then as you win states, you go from 2% to 4% to 10% to 14%. So I started off at 2% the evening of that fatal for the enemy, totally fatal for the enemy. So I started off at 2%, and then it comes out, Donald Trump has won the state of Florida. Oh, that's nice. So now I go from 2% chance to an 8% chance. Then we win Georgia, we win North Carolina, we win South Carolina. We win, ultimately, Pennsylvania. We ran the whole East Coast. And you remember that lunatic with the glasses? She had a lot of hair, the glasses, and she was screaming. She's become a famous woman. So we go from 2% 2% to 6% to 12% to 14%. Now they're starting to get a little bit nervous. And then they said, well, North Carolina is a firewall. Donald Trump has won the state of North Carolina. They said that, and we won North Carolina. Don't worry, South Carolina, we won that one easy. But they had North Carolina, your neighbor. North Carolina is a firewall. He won't be able to get through North Carolina. We won that one. And now they're starting to get worried. So now we're at a 30% chance. Then we won a couple of others. Then we won Wisconsin. That was a big one. And now we're at 40% chance. So we went from 2 to 40. And these people are going crazy. It was one of
How's the audio now, ladies and gentlemen? How is the audio now, ladies and gentlemen? Let me know. Let me know. I want to hear. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm going to try and do Trump. Let me know. Tough it out, hello. Mara, hello. In Sydney, Australia, hello. Good? Okay. Scoop, hello. I want to read you this about yours truly, Gloria. Everyone here, love trucks. Paul Bartlett, Nicholas. I want to read you this in 2015. If you're new to this channel, hit subscribe because I'm not right about everything, but I'm pretty much right about most things. You can compare my predictions and my viewpoints to the miserably failed prognostication and predictions and views and analysis of people, mainly on the left, 1 million to 4 million to 5 million sub-channels. This is NPR 2015. 5 statements on the wrong side of history. And it says, and you can go ahead, talks about yours truly. Let's read it together, ladies and gentlemen. Let's read it together. NPR. And that's why, if you're new, subscribe to the channel. I give you, I think, a lot better analysis than the 4 to 5 million sub-channels on this topic. But everyday smart folks makes assertions about Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, issues of all sorts. And by the way, no disrespect to 538. Our emphatic prediction is simply that Trump will not win the nomination by Nate Silver, 538. Okay. And what did yours truly write? I am and this is on my website, hagoodman.com. And Clinton is unelectable due to negative favorability polls nationwide and within swing states. H.A. Goodman wrote on Huffington Post in October of 2015. Sometimes such sweeping pronouncements prove true. Sometimes they are found to be folly. High Tones, hello. So there you go. Thank you, High Tones. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is an article written for everyone to see forever. Quoting me, or one of the things I wrote about. And I was writing in 2015 that Clinton would lose to Trump. And they said it was 5 statements on the wrong side of history. Not, they quote, statements, historical predictions that were wrong. But they start off with recent writing that was recent for the time in 2015. And I was 100% right. I said Clinton was unelectable. Now, I think that Clinton will be, I think that Biden will be replaced by Clinton at some point. At some point. He'll definitely, I've been saying he'll be replaced, so I'll be at least right about that. Okay, nobody on the left was saying that Biden was going to be replaced. In fact, they viewed it to be a conspiratorial theory. Until now, the New York Times is asking for Biden to be replaced. Okay. Nuance, hello. Tough it out. Thank you. Great job, HA. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you so much to my super chat. Thank you. Tough it out. Thank you. Nathaniel, hello. Thank you. So there you go. That's when Trump was talking about that, where people didn't, like all the experts couldn't believe that he could win. I was saying that Clinton would lose to Trump in 2015. Let's continue.
Most incredible evenings in history. They wouldn't call Pennsylvania, even though I was leading by so much with so many votes in that if I would have gotten no more votes, I would have won. I said, why aren't they calling it? They were probably trying to build up the ballot count because they thought, but ultimately it wasn't necessary. But then ultimately, late at night, I won the great state, or the great, look, Pennsylvania was a very special place. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
We saw it with our
So there's this, the people on the left say, we saw it with our own eyes. Yeah, did you see the Tucker Carlson footage with people being let in? Because you know who saw that footage? The judges that acquitted, I believe it was 2 people already acquitted, because they were actually allowed into the building by law enforcement. So it's like, you saw it with your own eyes. Trump said peaceful. He said demonstrate peacefully. He said respect law enforcement. He didn't know anyone there. Furthermore, wasn't convicted of any rebellion and didn't organize a rebellion. You saw that with your own eyes. He never organized anything. He wasn't even there. And so he didn't incite or compel or influence anyone to do anything. He didn't even know these people. He didn't say go and commit crimes. So it's like Democrats have been doing this to Trump since the first impeachment. Had Trump gotten that, had Trump had access to the laptop or the New York Post, done published the articles on the laptop, he would never have been impeached. But they said, well, an ellipsis meant that he was trying to coerce or show leverage and influence a world leader, which of course was nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Well, ladies and gentlemen, be here tomorrow. I will have a live stream at around 3 p.m. I should have a live stream at around 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. And then another one about 10 p.m. Eastern. To my super chat, thank you. Everyone here, thank you. To everyone new to the channel, hit subscribe, thank you. I'll be back tomorrow. Every day is a countdown to a unanimous Supreme Court decision. Something that I've been talking about